Hey everybody, I am Raymond Camden and I want to share with you some new things in Node. Now, when I say new, they're mostly new to me, although one is a feature that came out like 2 weeks or so ago, so that's pretty new. But these were three things that I thought were really, really useful and I'm very happy to see in Node.js. So let's get started. So the first thing I want to talk about is watch support. And basically what that means is looking at a script and watching it for file changes. And when it changes, actually rerunning that particular file. For many years, I used a command line tool called NodeMon, open source command line tool that would do this, that would watch your file system. And if you saved the file, it would reload it. But it is now baked into Node.js. So I'm going to take a file, and I should say it was added in October of 2022 in version 18.11.0. It's also mentioned as being released in version 19, but about a year and a half now. In the docs, it's still marked as experimental, but it seems to work rather well. So I have a file here, and if I just run node watch1.js, it runs and is done. Pretty simple. But if I add the --watch argument in front of it, you do see I get the experimental warning, but now it's run and it's still watching it. And if I change that console.log, it clears the result, which is really cool, makes it nice and obvious. It gives me a message, and you could see the updated thing. Now, what I love about this is that I would only use NodeMon for things like Express.js, servers. I never really thought about using it for, fire and done type scripts, but it works great for that. Another example I want to show you, I have this file watch2, and it's going to read a text file and then dump that out the screen. So we will run that node watch2, and there you go. But I can actually specify a watch path and give it that text file and then tell it to watch2.js. So I'm passing two things. I'm saying, hey, watch for changes to notes.txt and also watch and rerun watch2.js. So I will run it and I see, hi, I'm Ray. I open up that text file and say, hi, I'm Ray. Make it very happy. You can see it reruns. Now you can actually watch the text file and not watch the JavaScript file. So you see I have my watch path there, and I just have watch.js as the final argument. Run that. And if I go and watch2.js and change it, nothing happens. If I go into my text file and save it and run it, it reloads. So I like that flexibility there. That seems really, really handy. Cool. So the next thing I want to talk about is another feature that kind of replaces a open source project, and that is the ability to read a env file. So I have a file, env1.js, that just outputs the milkshake environment variable. And what Node added, and this was in version 20.60 in September of 23, so less than a year ago, is that I can do node --env file, point to env, and run env1.js. And I could see that it read it. Let me actually show that file. It's a key value pair. And this essentially replaces .env, which is a utility I've used for a very long time to specify service keys and things like that. And then run it, then use it in my Node.js code. So that is one way of doing it. There is another way as well, and this particular one came out in the version from 2 weeks ago, March 6, 21.70. This does the same thing, process.load env file. It defaults to looking for .env, but you can also pass a file name if you want. And if I run node env2.js, I will see the same thing. I think I prefer this because it's a bit more explicit in terms of what's happening, but I could also see you using the command line path. All right, so that's two new things. How about our third thing? This also replaces a open source project, and that is the ability to add color to console messages. So it is a function called style text. It allows you to pass a color and then the text that you want colorized. This is replacing Chalk, which was a pretty cool open source project that did pretty much the same thing. And you could see I could do things like a color. There's also variants in terms of like maybe a background of red instead of red text, as well as red bright. And you could also mix and match. And this gets a bit verbose. So if I want bold red, I wrap style text red with style text bold. But, it's options. So if we run color one, we could see all the options. There's my red, yellow, green. There's my background red. There's my red bright. I'm not sure if it will show up on YouTube, but at least to my eyes, it is brighter. And then bold red is even more bright. And this last example is just showing bold on default white text. So forgot if I mentioned, this also came out in the 21.7.0 release 2 or so weeks ago. But it's really, really handy. All three of these things are things that I have used open source projects for a long time and have found very handy. So I love that they are baked in. Anyway, hope this helps. Leave me a comment and tell me what you think.